Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, I am bringing some serious energy today because, well, we have one very distinct goal. We are going to completely transform you from a passive consumer of information into a dangerously smart builder. Think of it as constructing your very own pyramid of modern intelligence. We're doing this by combining three absolute powerhouses: a strategic mindset, modern AI leverage, and raw technical execution. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start actually architecting your own success, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Becoming dangerously smart isn't about having the highest IQ in the room. Not at all. It's really about developing the kind of intelligence that quietly gives you the advantage. It's about adopting what I like to call a chess player mindset. Reading the board, anticipating outcomes, and quietly building up advantages that put you leaps and bounds ahead of the curve, all while everyone else is just reacting to the noise.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with number 1, the strategic mindset, followed by number 2, leverage and systems thinking. Then we're going to move into number 3, mastering modern AI tools, number 4, automations and AI agents, and finally, number 5, setting up for development. I promise you, if you master the mindset and that AI multiplier first, you are going to be fully equipped for the technical execution at the very top of our pyramid.
Section 1. The strategic mindset. Moving from a passive consumer to a strategic builder.
Before we even think about touching a piece of technology, we absolutely have to upgrade our mental inputs. We need to focus on clarity. Look, without clarity, every single action you take is just guesswork. And honestly, confusion is incredibly expensive. Short-term thinkers get trapped. They're stuck in this exhausting cycle of reacting to immediate noise, chasing quick rewards, and hiding their mistakes just to protect their ego. But long-term thinkers operate entirely differently. By anticipating outcomes and actively studying their mistakes, they allow their skills and knowledge to compound over time. It's like a snowball effect. And that compounding effect means they make far fewer desperate decisions. They simply don't panic when the weather changes because they know exactly where they are going.
Dangerously smart people don't just solve problems faster, they actually prevent them from happening in the first place. And they do this using specific mental models, like inversion. Instead of just dreaming about success, you ask yourself a really harsh question: how do I fail? You just flip the whole problem on its head. Top investors, engineers, military strategists, they all use this exact model to identify obvious failure points and eliminate them early. It's a brilliant way to outsmart problems before they even have a chance to appear.
Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds. Leverage and systems thinking, building advantages that compound.
Once you have a clear, strategic mind, you quickly realize that raw personal effort has some pretty serious limits. There are only so many hours in a day, right? To escape those limits, you need leverage to do way more with way less. This comes in 4 main forms. First, tools, like the software and AI we'll be digging into shortly. Second, skills, things like communication and that ultimate meta skill of learning how to learn. Third, people, achieved through intelligent networks and delegation. And fourth, capital and distribution, which includes building a rock-solid reputation and systems that literally work while you sleep. Remember, trying to do everything yourself isn't some noble badge of honor. It's just really inefficient.
Now, there is a crucial shift here. Average people rely heavily on event-based thinking. They react to events as they happen, like panicking when they suddenly get sick or just sitting around hoping for a promotion to drop into their lap. But strategists rely on systems-based thinking. They don't wait around for a sudden windfall. They architect predictable systems, like consistent saving habits or daily health routines. They understand that outcomes aren't just random lucky events. They are the highly predictable byproducts of the systems they've built.
Section 3. Mastering modern AI tools, your strategic multiplier.
Okay, let's pivot from abstract strategy to applied technology. Artificial intelligence is the ultimate modern leverage to execute your carefully designed systems. Now, the AI landscape moves ridiculously fast, but listen, you do not need to get overwhelmed by thousands of flashy new apps. You just need to rely on a few core foundational categories. We've got large language models like ChatGPT and Claude for versatile text tasks. There's Perplexity and NotebookLM for deep, grounded research. Midjourney and Ideogram are your go-to for high-quality visuals. Runway and Kling are incredible for generating physics-based video. And finally, 11 Labs and Suno for hyper-realistic audio and music. These are your heavy hitters. If you stick to mastering these foundational tools instead of chasing every new headline, you are going to be ahead of 99% of people, for sure.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how incredibly simple interacting with AI can be if you just use a specific framework: aim, context, and rules. Look, vague prompts force the AI to guess, and guessing always leads to poor results. But when you clearly define exactly what you want it to do, that's your aim, provide the necessary background or audience to your context, and set crystal clear limits on style or formatting, your rules, you instantly turn those vague AI guesses into highly specific, incredibly usable outputs. It's an absolute game changer.
Moving right along to Section 4, Automations and AI Agents, moving from user to builder.
We are really stepping up our pyramid now. We're transitioning from just typing basic prompts into chat boxes to actually building intelligent systems. Notice the structural similarity to the last step here. An AI agent requires 3 core components. You need a brain for reasoning, usually your underlying LLM. You need memory to retain past interactions and context. And you need tools to actually take action. Unlike a simple automation that just rigidly goes from step A to step B, having these 3 components allows an AI agent to dynamically make its own decisions, solve problems on the fly, and trigger real-world actions, like autonomously managing your calendar or researching the web.
And this brings us to an incredibly exciting modern phenomena known as vibe coding. Seriously, vibe coding. It's where you just describe what you want in plain, everyday language, the AI generates the functional software, you test the result, and you iterate, all without ever manually writing the code yourself. Non-technical users are jumping on platforms like Cursor or Windsurf right now to build their own custom personal productivity apps just by chatting with an AI. Software creation has literally never been this accessible. But here is the critical question we need to answer. How do you move from merely using AI apps to truly building them yourself? Vibe coding is amazing, don't get me wrong, but to build real, modern, scalable apps, the kind of apps you can actually launch to the world, you need a proper foundation. So it's time to pivot from AI theory into the hard technical execution of setting up a real development environment.
Section 5. Setting up for development. Equipping your command center.
So, the crucial point is this. To truly leverage AI and build your own smart applications, you need a local development environment. You need a foundational command center where your strategic mind, your AI agents, and your code can all seamlessly come together. And to do this efficiently, we look straight to Flutter and Dart. Let's demystify these terms really quickly. Flutter is this incredibly powerful UI framework backed by Google that lets you write your code once and build beautiful apps for both Android and iOS from a single code base. And Dart, that's just the straightforward programming language that Flutter runs on. And hey, don't worry if you don't know Dart yet. Learning it is essential, sure, but you'll learn it step by step as you build. It's much like learning how new pieces move on a chessboard.
Setting up your environment isn't some kind of dark magic. It is just a predictable system. Here's your rapid-fire installation sequence. First 5 minutes, you download the Flutter SDK and extract it. By minute 10, you edit your system environment variable paths so your computer actually recognizes it. At the 20-minute mark, you install Android Studio to get your device emulators running, and by minute 30, you run the command Flutter Doctor to diagnose that everything is perfect, and you install Visual Studio Code, which is going to be your primary workspace. Whether you're on Windows or Mac, equipping this technical command center is just a clear, systematic process. Once you are inside Visual Studio Code, you'll definitely want to install these critical extensions: Dart, Flutter, Awesome Flutter Snippets, and Flutter Color. These add-ons act as your specialized tools, your leverage. They provide shortcuts for common functions, color code your syntax so it's super easy to read, and honestly, they just make the entire coding process infinitely smoother and visually organized. You are quite literally building leverage directly into your workspace. And this brilliantly illustrates how it all comes together. Once your command center is set up, just a single command in your terminal, literally typing flutter create first_project, spins up your very first app folder. Just like that. You've combined your strategic intent with the exact right tools, and you have proven that you are 100% ready to build. Which brings us right to the top of our pyramid and our final thought for this explainer. Now that your personal command center is fully armed with a clear strategy, the ultimate leverage of AI, and a proper coding environment, what will you build first to create your own strategic advantage? It is time to stop consuming and start executing. Thank you so much for joining me, and I challenge you. Go build something dangerously smart today.